Kilti Haziram Zepti. Sufism is prone to be seen as competition to conservatives. They shock the contemporary norms of every age into a more intentional lifestyle imbibed with the spiritual. They will form brotherhoods and sisterhoods to carefully shape students by shocks and progress them through states and stations. Places are established to presence and attract or multiply or repel energy and entities. Death and physical exertion are powers to operate. It is a force of reformists and liberals. It arises out of mixed paths. It arises out of the men's and women's orders or work rituals in society. And part of this is because of the co-ed nature of a masajid. Whether or not they actually sin or disbelieve in a particular way, their mention of sin and disbelief to make points in their poems and stories and other art certainly has its direction. They carry on the methods and translate rituals of other cultures to their own means. They have all sorts of sympathetic, contagious, associate correspondence sorts of magics. And Sufism often branches into various forms of extremism to form relationship with entities that very often are not approved of through mainstream religion, or they direct them thereby. Anything, even war and violence, can be ritualized. Shape-shifting and berserker-like aspects of modes are used for transformation. There's various types of frenzy and trances that are employed. And Sufism relates to Suf, which is wool, or Tawasuf, which is a refinement. Because at an essence of Sufism is a self-judging, a self-governing, a direct ability to interpret and experience, a direct authority for the individual for rituals. Now, when it comes to orders, there is path working and pledges and a committed fortification in this. Any strictness that they have, it's not of the sterile Calvinistic sort. So they've been quite the target of the Calvinistic peoples. But one of the things that a person can do in that sort of situation is, regardless of whether it's you doing it or whether it's being done to you, you can dedicate the event, right? I'm sorry, I'm not as able to read some of my handwriting as I thought I would be. Um, just like the yogi and the tantric individual, the Sufi has goals of realization, of effects to do. They are detached, even though they are beings of real world action. They investigate and conclude for themselves what the aspects of chains of cause and authority come from. The real world, as I said, is embraced, but we are not the real world itself. And Sufism often means to go outside of surrender unto Abrahamic ideas of God. Some of this is intentional, some of this is not with intention. Sufism claims the spirit of, you know, whatever spiritual path it's working its bits from, a mystery of things. And another function that can coincide is that of the not accepting of the outside group. Because, I mean, why do you have to accept what you're not involved with, what you don't believe in, what you don't personally have any goal of doing, right? Now, it also has a similarity with Temple of Blood in that you can do government work, but this government work is done with your own intentions, your own devotions, and you're trying to direct the government towards means that you personally would want it to be upon. And I say with voting, your average person with voting, oh, they'll vote because it's pretty bad. It's like, well, yeah, there's a little minute whatever that you can sort of group in and be a part of. And regardless of the type of myth, whether it's secular or sacred, a Sufi can use that. People say, oh, you can't watch movies and stuff. It's like, well, teaching stories are the same thing. If you view it as this thing to get involved with as such, then you can work towards directly experiencing that myth or fable and building your awareness through various vibration methods. Now, as I said before, some things in terms of the sexual and the music and the drugs that wouldn't be allowed by mainstream religion does happen in certain Sufi groups. But it's not some wild randomness. They will use specific references to agents and places. And when they do form, when there is a high-minded manifestation, they end up being such an individual that will direct these powers. Because one of the things that I've seen happen in Sufi groups, like you will actually have in some groups people going around casting off things, sort of projections and that sort of stuff. Some of it's through energy work, some of it's otherwise, and they will actually circle around the group and take in or put out and work with this auric energy or whatever else you want to call it. And mainly the thing is that Sufism is largely thought of by hundreds of millions of people as forbidden, and it's gotten itself involved in things that have been politically and otherwise forbidden according to an even larger number of people. But they're not doing it just because it's forbidden, even if they do invent their own aspects of what's forbidden and allowed. Lum Katzdivam Havaksli Wo Kilti Haziram Zapti Lum Katzdivam Havaksli Wo Kilti Haziram Zapti Lum Katzdivam Havaksli Wo Kilti Haziram Zapti Lum Katsivam Havok Sleeve, Woo Kilti Haziram Zipti. 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 Lum Katsivam Havok Sleeve, Woo Kilti Haziram Zipti.